Hey everyone, it's Rebecca, your secretary. On behalf of myself and the entire e-board, I would just like to say happy holidays and congratulations on being done with finals. Yay! Anyway, I just wanted to take some time out to talk to y'all about winter break and the holiday season. I think for being a queer identified individual, I have found that being queer or being an ally during the holiday season can get really stressful. I think it adds a lot of tension and a lot of stress that maybe people outside of the community don't face. So, for those of you who do not know, I'm only out to half my family. So, talking about what I do on campus or where I live and Rainbow Perspectives or some of the things that I do and some of the activism I partake in, it can become really difficult when I can only tell certain people and I'm not really sure who I told what to, and it gets really confusing, and it just adds a lot of stress to what is usually a pretty great time of year since we don't have classes, unless you're taking winter classes. So I've formulated some tips that work for me, and I'm hoping that other people will post what works for them. And that way we can have this conversation and continue to have this conversation, because I feel like as many times as you've gone through the holidays, as many more times as you will, that it will continue to be stressful, and there's always things that we can do to eliminate some of that stress. And the only way we can learn those things are through each other. So what works for me is when I realize that I can't force myself to come out, and that by not coming out, I'm not neglecting a part of my identity. I felt like by not telling people that, I'm queer or that I'm a lesbian or that, whatever, by not saying that I was neglecting that part of me, and that I was, embarrassed about that, or that I was ashamed or whatever. So I think the best thing you can do is just realize that safety and comfort always come first. So sometimes you might need to tweak a little information or siphon through what you tell people, especially if it compromises your comfort, and number one, your safety, because that's the most important. Number two, I've learned to talk to people that know about, my identification with the queer community and what I do on campus, and have that conversation that, listen, I've told X, Y, and Z, but I haven't told, the rest of the alphabet. If that makes sense. I think that it's really important to have that conversation because it eliminates a lot of chance that it'll happen later. Because no one wants to be forced out, right? And no one wants to be forced into an uncomfortable situation. And as much as you may not think that happens, as much as you think that at the dinner table, Aunt Sally won't ask you about Queer Student Alliance meetings, you never know, and you never want Aunt Susan, who didn't know, to become offended or start asking questions, and all of a sudden then you're out of your comfort zone, and you're forced into a situation that you weren't planning for. So always have that conversation. It never hurts. Step 3, I've learned to keep in contact with the QSA community, and those at Yago and Jax and so forth, because your RU queer community is so important, in making plans during winter break, and just keeping contact with it. They're familiar, the familiar faces that you see every week, and sometimes not seeing them for a period of time, it gets upsetting. And those are the people that know what you're going through. So hit them up on Facebook. If they're close enough, then go get coffee with them. Start a Facebook group or start a Facebook event or something like that. We have about a month of no meetings. So just because we don't have meetings doesn't mean y'all can't meet. So hopefully you found some friends, and some acquaintances during speed friending. So hit them up. See what's going on during winter break, because, whether you're queer identified or an ally or whatever, just hanging out with other people who identify, similarly to you and understand what you're going through and whatever. It's always a good thing. Always a good thing. What else? Locate your Pride centers. The Pride Center in New Jersey is in Highland Park. It's right by campus, and they're great there. They know about QSA. They have great volunteers there with a variety of different identifications, and they're very welcoming. Some people from Rutgers actually volunteer there, and they offer fabulous meetings for a wide variety of people, and they're walk-ins. So don't worry if you can only come to, one or, only come during break or whatever. Branch out to other communities. If you're in another state, try to find one near closest to you. Let's see. Tip number 4 would be just to stay healthy. I think that stress can put a lot of wear on your mind and your body. So always take me time out. As much as you want to hang out with other people, I think it's also important, apart from classes and everything else, that you just got done with finals time, which is really stressful. And then you're thrown into a completely different routine. So take time out to, do some yoga, meditate, color. That's what I do. But really just focus on yourself, because we have another semester ahead of us. Most of us do, or most of us can relate to that time. It's really stressful. So just take the time out, now that you don't really have as many, requirements. So just take some time out for yourself always. Finally, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always accessible, the eBoard, always accessible through email, through Twitter, through Facebook. These are different outlets that you can use. We have resources. We are available to a wide variety of resources, and we're more than willing to help. So feel free to reach out to us, to talk to us, to say hi, to talk about your day, whatever. We'll be here. Just because we don't have meetings doesn't mean that we don't care. So feel free to reach out to us. And I think that's about it. So please post below what works for you. Hopefully we can have this conversation. And on that note, have a great holiday and enjoy yourself this break. Okay, bye.